Mr. President, I will now call this meeting to order. It is 4:30 p.m. We have no public comments for posted agenda items today, so I'll turn the floor over to Mrs. Anna Laura, Director of Early Head Start, who will present the Early Head Start Program Governance Training. Ms. Laura?
Thank you. Good afternoon. All right. My name is Anna Lara. I'm the director of Becker. Is it? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, sorry. My name is Anna Lara. I'm the director of Early Head Start. And today I am here to share some information with you all in regards to Becker Early Head Start, its governance and leadership systems. So, the Office of Head Start is a division of the Office of the Administration for Children and Families. Services for all Head Start and Early Head Start programs across the nation are guided by these two documents that you see on the slide. One of them is the Head Start Performance Standards, and the other one is the Head Start Act. Together, they set the foundation for quality services to children and families. So what is Early Head Start? Early Head Starts are federally funded programs. They were created back in 1964 by President Lyndon B. Johnson, and as one of his strategies to declare war against poverty. Early Head Start programs provide comprehensive services to children 0 to 3 years of age from families of low income. They're designed to support families in reaching their own personal goals while promoting children's overall school readiness. There are over 1,600 agencies across the United States in local communities across the entire nation, of course. And Galena Park I.S.D. Becker Early Head Start has been the grantee of an Early Head Start program since 1999. This slide shows the age group that we service, which is infants and toddlers. And now let's talk a little bit about the Early Head Start services. Here's a list of the services provided by Early Head Start programs. The full-day childcare services in an educational setting, which I think is what people mostly know us for. We also provide research-based curriculum and assessments for all students. Services for children with special needs. It is a mandate that we service at least 10% of our enrollment in inclusive classrooms. Community resources and referrals, and transportation provided by the Galena Park I.S.D. Transportation Department. In addition to supplies, diapers, wipes, pull-ups, and any necessary equipment at no cost to those families who qualify. So how do you qualify for Early Head Start services? You must be eligible. And the 3 eligibility requirements are age, the child must be 3 years or younger. Income, the family must meet the poverty guidelines. And address, the family must reside within the Galena Park I.S.D. service area. Priority is based on the selection criteria established by the program for that year. And the higher the need, the higher the points. And that's how we determine who gets to come into our program next. This slide is children learning, exploring. We have the bottom left is families engaged in one of our parent meetings, and the topic presented that day was nutrition. The top right picture is community engagement and community partnerships, and that is the City of Galena Park fire truck. So now let me get into the budget section of the program. We apply for a new grant every 5 years. However, on a yearly basis, we also have to submit a continuation grant. In addition, if there are any supplemental grants available, we will apply for those. This past year, we received a little bit over $100,000 from the American Rescue Plan. and we will responsibly make sure we spend those before 2023. All right, so leadership and governance systems are a balanced representation of voices to ensure diversity and accountability. Head Start believes in inclusive leadership and shared decision-making. Governance of this program is divided between the Board of Trustees, Policy Council, and Early Head Start Management. This is the Head Start Management System wheel, and this helps us visualize how leadership and governance fit into the overall picture. We see the different functions and systems that work together to inform and influence the program service delivery. The ultimate goal is to produce quality child and family outcomes. So here are the governing systems and their roles and responsibilities. The governing body exercises the legal and fiscal oversight, including the safeguarding of federal funds, and that is you all. Policy Council, they assume the responsibility for program direction. Management staff, we assume the responsibility for day-to-day functions and operations of the program. Composition. So the governing body, it is expected that at least one member in this committee has expertise in the following fields: fiscal, education, and legal. If we do not, that we at least have access to someone with expertise in those fields. The rest of the community members can be community representatives. For Policy Council, the majority of the members must be early Head Start parents, and the remainder can be community representatives. So Head Start program leadership is inclusive and intentionally structured to seek the voices and perspectives of all three governing entities. However, the ultimate responsibility does lie with the governing body. Some of the key responsibilities for the governing body include reviewing and approving all funding applications, financial audits, operating budget, self-assessment, and results and follow-ups from federal monitoring reviews. These are some of the documents that you see. I don't know that I'll be able to click and open the links, but I'll just briefly talk about each one of them. The board information report is that blue 8-page report that you guys see each month, and it's kind of a little bit of a summary. It tells you what was our attendance percentage for the month, meal counts, whether or not we had any exclusions during the month, etc. The next one is the selection criteria based on different special circumstances, who gets how many points for that year. Program and school readiness goals, they're the goals that we kind of work towards during the year in order to deliver quality services to the children and the families. Annual report to the public is a bigger summary of the entire year that had to do with the program and the students and families that we service, and that's also posted on our website. Self-assessment, that kind of gives us an opportunity to look at our program and see if there's any room for improvement, which of course there always is. Budget summary, you see that each year that we are applying for the continuation grant. And the training and technical assistance plan, that is our plan for staff development for the entire Early Head Start staff for the year. So we said Policy Council provides program direction. Management staff, we oversee and assume responsibility for the day-to-day functions of the program. And this website is the ECLEC website. Anything and everything that you would like to know regarding general Head Start and Early Head Start programs, you will find on this website. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Holly Malloy, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, and Dr. Michelle Epps, Assistant Superintendent for Student Support Services, who will present an update to the early childhood literacy and math goals and the college, career, and military readiness goals.
Good evening, President Miller, Board of Trustees, Dr. Moore, and Cabinet. So I will start this evening, and then our fabulous Dr. Epps will follow. I'll start with our early childhood literacy and math goals, and then she'll follow with college, career, and military readiness. So as a reminder, the Board of Trustees created and we developed 5-year goals for early childhood literacy. 3rd grade being measured on the MEETS grade level standard on the STAR test. And a reminder, MEETS grade level standard is college ready standard. The approaches level is actually passing. For pre-kindergarten, our children are measured using circle assessment. And for kindergarten through grade 2, they use M-class, which is DIBELS. So here is our original set of goals. The first line right here, the percent of pre-K students that meets grade level or above on circle, from 63 to 70, that was our original goal set. So when we created the 5 years goals, 63% was our 2020 goal. So this year's report is our end of year data for 2021, and that's the left column. So we were trying to hit 64% for pre-K, kinder was 48%, first grade 39%, second grade 48%, and 3rd grade 46%. And if you recall, you received 2 memos from me last year giving you the beginning of year goals and where we were, and mid-year. So for early childhood literacy, literacy skills build upon each other, and I think our children, even with our COVID not having them face-to-face, we did pretty well. So pre-K goal was 64%, we met it at 68. Kinder was 48%, we met it at 48. First grade was 39%, and we met it at 49. Second grade was a little tougher, we were close though, at 45%, trying to hit 48. And 3rd grade was 46% goal, and we were at 39%. Reminder, 39% is the MEETS standard, where the approaches standard is passing, and we were actually at 58% approaches in 3rd grade. For math, 3rd grade, we used the math STAR assessment at the MEETS grade level standard. Pre-kindergarten uses circle, and kinder through 2nd grade used I.S.D. So here's our goals again for math. Again, this year was the 2020-21, your left-hand column. So pre-K was 87, kinder 54, first grade 41, 2nd grade 46, and 3rd grade 51.5. So math is a little different subject. Those are new TEKs and new skills that are learned each year versus the reading that build a lot upon each other. So it's a little bit tougher. Pre-K's goal was 87%. We were close at 84. Kinder was 54, and we met it at 60%. First grade, 41%. We were close at 36. Second grade, a little tougher, 32%, and our goal was 46. And then 3rd grade was 51.5%, and the master's level was 29%. Our approaches, which is passing for 3rd grade math, was 58%. So while we know we have some growing to go, and we know we have a little catching up from our students that we did not get to teach face-to-face last year, we really feel that within the next 3 years we can make that time up, and at this time don't feel the need to readjust our goals. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you tell me why the 3rd graders didn't have a boy or Moya?
The 3rd grade is measured by the STAR assessment. So they only take that, yeah, the STAR.
So they just do that one?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Epps.
All right, as Ms. Malloy said, our students, despite the fact that we did not see them all face-to-face last year, did a really, really good job. We're really excited about presenting the information we have tonight. If you will recall with CCMR, College and Career Military Readiness, it's a little different than the regular academic scores that Ms. Malloy shared, because CCMR is always 1 year behind, okay? So whenever you're looking at an accountability report for this year, it's actually for the prior class, okay? All right, with regard to our goals, of course, every year we have set the annual goals for student achievement. We have also set targets. And then it's interesting just to make sure you're aware that there was no accountability report given for 2020, which was the class of 2019. But we did receive an overall CCMR rating, and I'll share that with you. And then also, they ended the CTE, coherent sequence, and armed forces ratings as well with the report for 2019, which was class 2018. This is the overall summary of how we have done thus far with CCMR. As you can see, we had our projected goals, and we have far exceeded those already. With the class of 2019, which was reported in 2020, as I mentioned, we did receive an overall rating. We had projected an increase to 50.5%, and we reached a final percentage of 63%. With the class of 2020, which was just reported this year, we had projected an increase to 53%, and we reached a percentage of 78%. So we're really excited about the fact that we are doing very well there, and that we will hopefully continue to show that progress. So at this point, basically, we far exceeded our initial target of 60% by 2024, but we will continue to work hard and push our students in an effort to increase those numbers. Though we, as I mentioned with the class of 2019, we have an overall CCMR rating, but we did not have a rating for the sub-pops. So as you can see there, for our 2020 class of 2019 report, that's why we state NAR, because there was no accountability report for that group of students. We did, however, have one for the class of 2020, which was reported with the 2021 report. And as you can see, for each of our groups, we have, again, far exceeded those. For African American population, our target was 53%. We reached 73%. For our Hispanic students, target of 76%. For our white students, our target was 53%. We reached 72%. For our economically disadvantaged, 53%, we reached 76%. For our English language learners, we had a target of 32.5%, and we far exceeded that with 79%. For our special ed population, target of 29.5%, we reached 67%. And then for our last two columns, our continuously enrolled versus our non-continuously enrolled, though we did far exceed both of those, I think it's interesting to note to you that the continuously enrolled number of 83% versus 47% shows that when our children stay with us, they do significantly better than when they jump in and out and go to all those other little districts. When we keep them, they do extremely well. So we're real proud of that, and we're going to work to continue to show gains in all of these areas with all of the interventions that we're putting in place. As a reminder, the 3 progress measures that we have selected for CCMR, and you all would have seen this in years past and approved some of these areas, approved these targets and measures. One was to see improvement with TSI, to see an increased number of our students receiving industry-based certifications, and then also to see an increased number of our special education students receiving advanced degrees, or basically those special education students graduating with an endorsement. Are there any questions?
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Out of 100% reported, I know you don't get 100% from 2019 reported, or do you? What's the percentage that this information is coming from?
I can't give you the exact percentage, but when it is reported, we do have a few months into the fall that we can still count students. So
Okay.
if they're still taking, if let's say they later on take a college entrance exam or a TSI or something of that, any of those measures, we can still count those months into, at least until I believe it's October, that we
Okay.
can still count those students in our numbers.
So it may increase.
That is correct.
Okay, perfect.
Anybody else?
I guess not. Thank you, Dr. Epps.
All right, thank you.
And thank you, Mrs. Malloy. There being no other business before the board at this time, the meeting is adjourned. It is 4:49. You will have a public hearing starting at 4:55. Meeting to order. The time is 4:55. Mrs. Barbara Garrett, Director of Child Care Services, will conduct a public hearing to discuss the Texas Child Care Relief Fund grant. Mrs. Garrett?
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent, and Cabinet. Texas Child Care Relief Fund, where did these funds come from? The funds were made possible through, The funds were made possible through, can you hear me okay now? Thank you. The funds were made possible through Child Care Development Block Grant funds that were received by Texas Workforce Commission from the Coronavirus Response Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act of 2021. The Texas Workforce Commission was charged with distributing those funds. What is the Child Care Relief Fund? It was funds provided to child care businesses to recover costs that were paid out between January 2021 and August 31st, 2021. Eligible programs were licensed child care facilities, homes that were open and operating effective May 1, 2021, and temporary closures were allowed. The total funding was awarded based on the program's licensed capacity, the average market rate, location and zip codes, and the number of child care centers in the area, as well as any Texas Rising Star certifications or national accreditations. The funds for the process was a 4-step process. The first part was to prepare, which is to gather receipts from January 1st and anticipate any costs that would be expended through August 31st, which was pretty easy for us because our business services department and teams allow us to do that fairly easy and quickly. The application was open online between June 11, 2021 through July 11, 2021. Both programs, of course, applied for the funds. The next step was to request the funds once you applied, and then the last step was to receive those funds. Of course, if you may not know, we have 2 programs, one on the south side, one on the north side. The north side location closest to North Shore Elementary applied for $159,636. The program on the south side was eligible to apply for $55,539. What were those funds allowed to be used for? Rent, mortgage, utility costs, gas, payroll, any PPE supplies, janitorial supplies, and any other supplies that allowed us to operate during that time frame of January 1, 2021 to August 31st, 2021. Are there any questions or comments?
Anybody? Apparently not. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Garrett.
You're welcome.
The public hearing is adjourned. The time is 4:58 p.m. We will start the special meeting at 5:10. The Board of Trustees of the Galena Park Independent School District is now convened in a special meeting on Thursday, September the 16th, 2021, in the Administration Building of Galena Park Independent School District, the address of which is 14705 Wood Forest Boulevard, Houston, Texas, 77015. The time is 5:10 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Galena Park I.S.D. Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, and personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management of the day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of the meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by Section 551.071 to 551.084 of the Texas Government Code. I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in the Galena Park Independent School District. We have no public comments for posted agenda items today, so we come to the consent agenda, the general consent agenda. With respect to the general consent agenda, do we want to remove any item for a separate vote? If not, I would entertain a motion that we approve the general consent agenda as presented.
I, Adrian Stevens, move we approve the general consent agenda as presented.
I, Norma Hernandez, second that motion.
All right, a motion was made by Adrian Stevens and seconded by Norma Hernandez. All in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimous, 7-0 with no abstentions. Huh? 6. Oh, that's right, 6-0, 0 abstentions. With respect to the construction consent agenda, do we want to remove any item for a separate vote? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the construction consent agenda as presented.
I, Ramon Garza, move that we approve the construction consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Ramon.
I, Adrian Stevens, second the motion.
Okay. I have a motion made by Ramon Garza and seconded by Adrian Stevens. All in favor? And that passes 6-0 with 0 abstentions. With respect to the financial consent agenda, do we want to remove any item for a separate vote? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the financial consent agenda as presented.
I, Noe Esparza, move we approve the financial consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Noah.
Wanda Johnson, second motion.
Thank you, Wanda. A motion was made by Noah Esparza and seconded by Wanda Heath Johnson. All in favor, please raise your hand. And I abstain. The motion was carried 5-0 with 1 abstention. The following documents were presented to the board for information. Sonia Nazi, Dr. Sonia Nazi, Chief Financial Officer and Deputy Superintendent for Operational Support, presented the donation report for August 2021, the comparative tax collection report for the period of September the 1st through July the 31st for fiscal years 2019 through 2020 and 2020 through 2021, and the 2016 bond program financial report as of July the 31st, 2021. Elizabeth Lader, Deputy Superintendent for Educational Support and School Administration, presented the 2020 to 2021 Early Head Start Program Information Report, the 2021 to 2022 Early Head Start Selection Criteria, and the Early Head Start Update and Fund 205 Expenditure report summary from July of 2021. Do we have an executive session? Okay. An executive session board will now be held on the matters contained in the notice of this meeting as authorized by Section 551.001 through Section 551.084 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meeting Law. Should the board determine that any final action or final decision or final vote be required with regard to any matter considered in such closed executive meeting or session, then such final action, final decision, or final vote shall be at either this public meeting upon the reconvening of this public meeting, or at a subsequent public meeting of the board upon notice thereof, as the board shall determine. A closed or executive meeting of the board will now be held. It is 5:15 p.m. Executive session is adjourned and the board is now in open session. The time is 5:28 p.m. I will entertain motions on the items covered in the executive session. Is there a motion to approve the employment of contractual personnel as presented?
I, Wanda Johnson, move we approve the employment of contractual personnel as presented.
I know as far as I second the motion.
Okay. Motion was made by Wanda Heath Johnson and seconded by Noe Esparza. All in favor? That passes unanimously, 6-0 and 0 abstentions. There being no other business before the board at this time, the meeting is adjourned. The time is 5:28 p.m.